Tyrese is looking sick.
All right, guys, welcome back to Relegation Battle. Very interesting weekend of action. Very good for most of us, for all of us, actually, surprisingly. Jack, since you're wearing that Ronaldo top, let's come straight to you. Almost a perfect debut for Ronaldo himself. 4-1 victory for United as well, top of the table. What do you think of the game?
The scoreline flattered us a little bit, I think. I think first half we were comfortable. They had a few counter attacks, but that's because we tried to play quite high up the pitch. Our fullbacks were quite high. Our midfielders, even Matic, was playing quite high. So it left Maguire and Varane 2v2 against Sir Max Vincent and Joe Linton and sometimes Amaron. But I thought we were comfortable. We didn't create too many chances in the first half, but you've only got to be in the right place at the right time, and that's where Ronaldo was. It's great movement. Keeper should have done better, but Ronaldo's instinct got in there and he put the ball in the back of the net. Second half, we didn't start well. Newcastle played quite well in the second half. They scored, and then after their goal, they were causing us a few problems. Maybe unfortunate ones to get another goal, but after we scored their second goal by Ronaldo, then they kind of just collapsed basically, and we basically had all the ball. We scored quite a few good goals, but yeah, perfect debut.
Yeah, like I said, perfect debut. 4 goals, obviously great. But in terms of the attacking setup, were you happy with it? Because Sanchez being moved around to the left, Gilman's on the right. Is that their best positions, do you think? And can Ole get the most out of them while they're in those positions?
Well, to be fair, I thought realistically, Sanchez played more games for Dortmund off the left than on the right. Realistically, so he can play that. And to be honest, I don't know if you watched the whole game or you just seen the highlights, but I thought Sancho was actually very, very good in that game. Leeds, when he came off the bench against Leeds, wasn't great. Started against Southampton and Wolves, wasn't too great, but I thought today on Saturday, he was fantastic. Kept the ball well, a few tricks here and there, so started to get comfortable. But I mean, Greenwood, sticky one because Ronaldo's going to play up front, so it's unfortunate for Greenwood, but he can learn off the best. And what games like the Carabao Cup, I don't see Ronaldo playing in them. So that's going to give a chance to Greenwood to play up front if Cavani's not fit. But, Rashford's still not there. So realistically, Ollie loves Rashford. So Rashford's going to probably come back in on the left. That's going to mean Sancho's going to be pushed to the right anyway. So at the moment, I don't think it's too much of a worry I know we brought Sancho for the right, but I don't mind him playing on the left at the moment.
Yeah. And so the other thing to happen across along last week was Van de Beek, who had an interview with Rio Ferdinand's YouTube channel on 5. It was an interesting one because he said he expects to have a role in the team because Ole obviously kept him rather than selling him. But it's almost like he was sure himself. It's like, all right, Ole kept me, so I must be part of the plans. That was almost like that rather than saying I am part of the plans. Do you think he is going to have a bigger role this season?
You would think so, surely. His agent and himself came out and it looked like deadline day. He'd moved to Everton. Like Everton was offering what he wanted. He was going to go, but Ollie said, no, I want you here. Obviously, that's going to give reassurance to Donny and hope, I'm going to get my chance this year. But the first 3 games didn't play a single minute. In the 4th game, he came on after Bruno scored and finished the game. So, I'm sure we'll talk about it later, but Champions League, I hope he starts tonight. But yeah, I thought the interview with him was good on Rio's channel. But yeah, I just hope he does get his chances this season.
Yeah, well, like I say, you got a Champions League game against Young Boys, I believe, today. I think at 5:55, whatever.
Yeah.
Do you want some rotation in that team now? I know it's Champions League, but Young Boys, without disrespecting, aren't the best team.
Yes and no. I don't want to see wholesale changes like we do in the Carabao Cup. Like you said, Young Boys are the so-called weaker team, but I think they had a good result on the weekend. They play on an artificial pitch, they don't play on AstroTurf, so we're not going to be used to that. So I don't think we can make so many changes. I want the back 5 the same. We still need to get Maguire and Varane are still new together, so we need them more time. So I like them to play together. Matic is going to come out because he can't play 2 games within quite a few days.
Yeah.
So you're going to see Fred come back in. I would like to see Van der Beek, but Pogba's on such good form. Can you drop him? He's going to play Bruno in the Champions League, but I do want to see Van der Beek. I think Greenwood will get a rest. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't, but I would like to see Greenwood get a rest. And then Ronaldo, we brought Ronaldo. He's not going to not play first game of the Champions League group stage, no matter who's against. So I want to see 2, maybe 3 changes, but I don't want to see wholesale changes now.
Yeah. Tie equally good week for Chelsea as well. Second in the table, I believe, on goal difference. But your striker also scoring. Yeah, your striker also scoring the big goals this weekend against Villa. Not the easiest first half, but a bit more comfortable in the second. I think you'd agree.
Yeah, similar to what Jack said. I think the 3-0 flattered us because in that first half, mate, we were getting dominated. Saul was awful. I'm not even going to talk about him because I don't want to say things I might regret later on. But yeah, first half was good. I mean, this is the difference from last season because when you have a world-class striker like Lukaku, he only needs one chance, and he proved that on Saturday. Obviously, he only had, I'd say, one was obviously, I'll tell you, the second one was a half chance, and he put that in the top corner. So, yeah, obviously, he proves why we paid so much for him and what he can offer us. And I think, obviously, Kovacic, I don't know where that performance came from because that's all I've ever wanted from him, just to improve in the final third, and he did that on Saturday. So hopefully he can keep that up. Obviously, Jorginho proved again why he's so important to our system. Obviously, as soon as he came on, the game changed. Obviously, we started to get more control of it. But yeah, the first half was worrying. But obviously, second half, Jorginho came on. The game changed a little bit. But then obviously we were missing players. Obviously, Kante was missing, Reece James was missing. So hopefully when they come back, we can start looking good in defence again. But obviously, Mendy, to me, he's close to being world class. I'm not going to say it yet, but I think he's close.
Yeah, I mean, I think Mendy probably him or Kovacic, best players for Chelsea in that game. I think the saves he made were important at good times as well. I think your second goal, although it was a mistake, just came at a great time for you guys. Villa was sort of just pushing back and Ming sort of just ruined it for them. But you guys got Zenit today, I believe. What are your thoughts for that game? And like I asked Jack, do you want some rotation there and rest players, or do you want a good start to your Champions League campaign?
The thing is, because we've got such a strong squad, I think either the first or second, it's going to be a strong team anyway. Like players like Mason Mount was on the bench at the weekend, Vernon was on the bench, like players like that. So I reckon they'll get a start, which is still going to be strong. I feel like he might start Lukaku again because obviously Lukaku's not really a guy. He doesn't really get injured, so he can play obviously 2 games in a week. It's not a problem.
Big statement, that. Gonna be regretting that when he pulls up a hammy.
Nah. You've seen the guy. But nah. So yeah, I don't want to see too much rotation because obviously we are European champions. I want us to make a statement because obviously the last time we were European champions, the group stage didn't go too well. So, so yeah, hopefully we make a statement today. Kante's out still, but apparently he's going to be back for Spurs. So that's a good sign. But I wouldn't even rush him in because Spurs are shit anyway. So it should be all right. But yeah, I don't want to see too much rotation. I just want us to make a statement because it is Zenit. You know, we are.
Can I just say one more
champions.
thing about the whole thing? The thing is, I think with Man United and both Chelsea, we have we have now both very good deep squad. So no matter if you're going to change a lot of players, it's still going to be strong. But the fact is that those players haven't played much. So if you're putting them all in at the same time, they haven't played much together. You know, they're the fringe players for a reason because they don't get much game time. If you're going to chuck all of them in at the same time, it's not going to end well. So like Ty said, you want a few players in there that's, you know, haven't played much, but the bulk of the team, you want the same.
Yeah,
that's true.
And like I said, I think I agree with Ty.
Arsenal don't have that problem.
Yeah, I think I agree with Ty in saying you have to make a statement because usually once a team wins the Champions League, you'd almost back them as favourites to win it again. But if you ask most people, I don't think they say Chelsea, even though you signed Lukaku. You probably even pick City or United above them in this regard, or PSG.
Because no one thought we were going to win it last year. Like, the fact that we actually won it, we were 10th in the league when Lampard got sacked, and obviously Tuchel came in. We had no clinical striker, so like everyone was looking at teams like City, PSG, and Bayern last year, and they're probably looking at the same again. Maybe throwing United in there now. So yeah, we do need to make a statement, because obviously I want us to show that we are still, that we are serious, like we've shown in the league so far. And obviously Tuchel said that, I think he's basically said that he's still going to field a strong team, even though it is only Zenit, because, he wants to show everyone that we want to retain the Champions League, even though I don't think we will, but obviously we want to. Aspie said it as well, so hopefully we can just get a win tonight.
Well, moving from the serious to the unserious, Arsenal have won a game in the Premier League finally, up to 16th now. Come on.
Sorry, you're staying up.
Yeah, I think we'll stay up. Big 6 point against Norwich.
Will be close come through.
Yeah, it was a good performance. It should have been like 3 or 4-0. Smith Rowe missed a good chance. Aubameyang missed a good chance as well, but I don't know. It was just, the first half was good. We were on top, but we couldn't get that goal. So when the second half started, it was almost like, okay, it doesn't matter how we win this game now. We just got to get a goal somehow. Yeah. And it was the scrappiest goal I might have seen in my life. Pepe hitting the post twice, doing a roly-poly. It comes off his legs and slams straight to Aubameyang. Like, you couldn't write almost scrappier goal than that. But I think you just got to take it in these situations. Gabriel being back was, I think, a huge boost, probably bigger boost than Partey being back, I think. Norwich didn't really have any good chances, but when they came close, Gabriel was sort of there to just either block it or just do something, which is good for us. Tomiyasu had a bright display, but obviously against Norwich, you can only take these things with a pinch of, so, you can't get too happy over.
Did you play 3 at the back in that game?
No, it was 4, but it was usually when Tierney went forward, Tomiyasu stayed back, and like that. So it's a bit more balanced that way. Yeah. I didn't expect Maitland-Niles to start in midfield, I can't lie. But he was composed, what you expect. But I don't think I'd start him over Partey, and I think Lokonga probably takes precedent over him as well. But going forward, Odegaard was good, playing some dangerous balls. I think we're finally starting to use Aubameyang's pace a bit more, which we just didn't do last season. We finally started to pick his runs in behind, and season before that, that's how he got most of his goals. So now that we're doing that again is good. But yeah, with us, luckily no European football to worry about. That extra stress is not needed around here. But yeah, I think we'll Burnley away next, then Carabao Cup against Wimbledon. They've got a big game against Spurs at home. Burnley away is a weird one, because Burnley's football is just so negative. I think I'd say you just never know what's going to happen at that stadium, but we do need to get a win there and sort of try build some momentum and take something into that Spurs game. But yeah, it's good to see that our injured players coming back, and you just need to hope that it continues that way. But elsewhere, Crystal Palace got a massive win over Spurs, 3-0. Unfortunately, Thomas isn't here for me to rub it in. Vieira getting the job done on behalf of Arsenal. But Jack, Odsonne Edouard, very highly rated striker. So it was linked with a couple moves, I think a couple moves to France as well. Palace ended up getting him, and we talked about Ronaldo's debut. Edouard had a great one as well.
Yeah, brilliant debut. I mean, I think I heard the commentator or someone say that the quickest player ever to score in his debut. So I think it was like 25 seconds in, first touch and bang. So brilliant debut for him, and a brilliant performance by Crystal Palace. But I do think I know they were quite dominant, but I don't think it would have been 3-0 if Tottenham didn't go down to 10 men. And I do think Tottenham are unlucky with the injuries and all the problems they had over the international break. Son wasn't there. Skip, who I thought has been very good this season. You know, he was playing with an injury. Had Eric Dyer come off at the start of the game, and Davinson Sanchez was isolating. Romero and Lo Celso was isolating. So I think Tottenham were in a tough spot that game because they didn't have a lot of players, but Crystal Palace did look very good.
Yeah. Like I said, Tottenham did have a lot of their players there. But, you know, after 3 1-0 wins, it's just still sort of a bit of a reality check, as in, you know, there still needs to be a bit more improvement with the squad. Nuno starts to do a bit more to sort of get them challenging again for a top 4 spot.
Just reminds me of Mourinho. Like, I don't think Spurs fans going to be that patient with Nuno. Like, they sacked Mourinho to get Mourinho 2.0. In my opinion, like I think Nuno, he's always been a defensive kind of manager. Maybe he'll prove me wrong once everyone's fit and obviously he's got his best 11. But yeah, I think it is a bit of a reality check. From what Tom was saying in the group chat, he was saying that Nuno got the lineup wrong. Obviously, I can't really comment. I don't know what Spurs' best midfield is or anything like that. So yeah, apparently he got the lineup wrong. It was poor, even when they had 11 men. Like Palace were all over him. Zaha was ripping that Emerson Royale guy for the first half. But it's just they looked poor. Obviously, I didn't see their game against Wolves or Watford, but I watched the game against City, and obviously they impressed me in that game. But then against Palace, like even before the red card, they just looked poor. I think Tanganga, he is actually a really good young centre back. Like he's actually surprised me. So I think they should stick with him, even though he did get a red card and obviously lost his head a little bit. But he's young, so he's just they just got to be patient with him because I think he can actually be a top centre back.
Yeah. The other thing I want to ask you too is Ndombele obviously was sort of rumoured to move away from the club. It seemed like it was wanted from both parties, but he's still there now, and you know he might leave in January, but he's still there now. He was left from the bench. He was progressing well last season compared to his debut one. Yeah. Would you guys still not play him until January and just make the most out of him rather than just keep him there on the bench and maybe play him for a Carabao Cup game or a Conference League game?
Go on, Ty, you go first.
I'd play him because I think he's quality, but then you need to make sure his head's right first. Similar to Harry Kane, obviously, from what he said, apparently he claims that his head's at Tottenham and he wants to play for them. So that's why he's playing. Obviously, you need to try and get Ndombele's head right. Obviously, we saw under Mourinho that obviously if he's not in a good place, then he's not going to perform well. Obviously, he's just going to sulk a little bit. So he's one of them players, needs an arm around the shoulder and stuff like that. So maybe if Nuno can get his head right, then obviously he has to start for me. Obviously, he's better than Dele Alli for sure. So they could play maybe Højbjerg, Lo Celso and Ndombele. I think that's a pretty good midfield. So yeah, I think if you can get his head right, then play him. Because even if he is going to leave in January, if you play him and he does well, then you could get more money than you might think.
I think it's a difficult one because Ty, he's got so much ability. You know, we saw that. I know it's a French league. We saw that in the French league. That's why they brought him for a fair bit of money. But I do agree he's got more ability than Dele Alli, but he's not suited to the Prem. Yeah. He's just not. He's just very lethargic. He's
not fit enough.
He doesn't. I don't know if he's not fit enough. He just doesn't seem to want to run. You know, he doesn't want to work hard. He just wants the ball, and you know, when he's on the ball, he's fantastic. But he doesn't do that hard graft that you're going to need in a Prem, which is why, you know, if you do play him, you've got to play him further forward. You can't play him as like a holding. You've got to play him, give him the license to just free roam. But in the Prem, you can't really have that anymore. You know, it's a lot of, we call them, you know, luxury players, but it used to be, I think the last one maybe was Ozil, you know, started to the end of his career. You needed that work hard, come back, even though you're on number 10. So be it. So that's why I think under Mourinho and Nuno, he hasn't been successful, because I know he was good at some parts under Mourinho, but we saw in his debut season and some of it under Mourinho that he just doesn't want to. It just seems like he doesn't want to run. You know, he doesn't want to work hard for the team. Whereas Dele Alli, you can see this season he's been running the most in every game out of the Spurs stage. You know, he's been working hard back and forward. That's what you're going to need in a Prem. And I just don't think he's got the talent. He just maybe doesn't have the mindset. Doesn't have the. He's just the Prem isn't suited for him.
They'd have to play two like hard-working DMs behind him, and I don't think they've got two. They've only got one. So I think, I don't really think you can, like you said, you can't really do that anymore because you'll just get overrun in midfield, especially if you play someone like Liverpool. So, but
I do think he can do I think he can play in obviously 100% play in like the Conference League and Carabao Cup, but in the Prem, I don't think he can. Unless you're going to be playing Norwich, but you're not going to be playing them every week. So every team works hard now. So, but he definitely can play some sort of role in those kind of Carabao Cup. He's going to play Conference. You play that every week, so he can play at least a game a week. But we have to see if Nuno uses him.
Well, definitely an interesting thing because he's a good player, like you said. On the ball is fantastic, but off the ball, perhaps the Prem just needs a bit more from him. Elsewhere, though, Liverpool got a good win over Leeds, but unfortunately, that was sort of overshadowed by Harvey Elliott's injury. I think dislocated ankle, got surgery on it today. It's bad when it happens to any player, but he had a very good start to the season. I think he's starting the games for Liverpool ahead of other players, and he was still making an impact in those games. So hopefully, when he returns, he can sort of carry on where he left off. But
is the red card being rescinded yet?
So Leeds appealed it today. I don't think they've got a result from it yet, but they have.
Did you guys think it was a red?
No.
Nah.
Yeah, neither.
No way. It's just look. It's just unfortunate. He's not going in there to break his leg. Even though he's come from the back, he's come from like the side and hooked his foot round. It's just unfortunate that his sliding leg got caught with Harvey Elliott's back leg, and it just it's unfortunate. You don't. Every time you step onto the football pitch, you have a chance of getting seriously hurt, even though it's not meant to. But no way, it's a red card.
Yeah. It was a good challenge. It was just the impact after.
It was a red. It gave a red because of what resulted in. We saw a couple of years ago Spurs against Everton. When Son kind of like that challenge with Andre Gomez. Son got a red card, but it got rescinded straight away because it wasn't a red card. It was just unfortunate what happened after.
I think only Thiago was the player who thought it was a red card on the pitch. Really, if you saw the replays, he won the red card. It's like no way is that a red card. So it's been unfortunate what happened, but even if you just look at their sort of physical bodies, that just straight is a pretty big centre back against a bit of a smaller 18-year-old.
I don't know if you saw the. I'm guessing both of you. I didn't watch it either, but I saw a clip of yesterday's game, Burnley versus Everton. Everton Burnley, and there was a challenge in that game that was identical to the challenge that happened on Harvey Elliott, but because no one got hurt, it was just a free kick. There was no yellow card or anything, so it definitely wasn't a red card.
Yeah, I think there's still a bit of uncertainty with the follow-through sort of rule. What's too hard, what's not? Because I think it was Tarkowski in yesterday's game. It was a pretty forceful challenge.
Burnley, honestly.
Yeah, it's just typical Burnley. But
that's a certain yellow.
Yeah, it has to be at least yellow. But I don't know, for me, the easiest one compared to is the Xhaka against Cancelo one where he got sent off. Which one was harder? For me, it's the Tarkowski one.
Yeah,
but both of them got the ball, and there's no one on the ground sort of screaming in pain. So it is a difficult one for referees because you don't know if the player's actually in pain, if they're faking it, or some players are just a bit tougher than the others and they will get up a bit quicker if they know they're not hurt. But I think there is still a bit of uncertainty around that rule. But let's move on. Man City got a pretty great win, but a good win over Leicester, important one.
I don't know but it was so comfortable for them.
Yeah,
honestly, Leicester, they dominated Leicester from start to finish.
I didn't even know this game was on.
I didn't know why it was at 3:00. I can't lie.
Yeah, I don't know.
I thought it was a women's game, and then I saw it was the men's because obviously everything was just about Ronaldo at 3 o'clock.
But
So.
yeah, City, that was comfortable for them.
Yeah, I saw the highlights.
Even
It
though
looks like
it
it
was
was chance after chance for them. I think Vardy, to be fair, was marginally offside for one of his goals, but that's just the way football works.
Leicester had their chance done now. They're not going to get top four ever. I can't see it happening now.
Unless they win, the Europa League? You never know.
Yeah.
Other than that, Brighton had a pretty good start to the season. I believe they are 6th in the table. I think they beat Brentford this week 1-0. Yeah, Everton, like we discussed, 3-1 win of Burnley. Townsend scoring a great goal. They scored like 3 goals in 6 minutes, so it came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But I think it's a good performance. Demarai Gray's got 3 and 3, I believe. Scored all 3 of the shots he's taken in the Prem this season. So it's pretty good for him. West Ham drew 0-0 Southampton. Antonio red card, screwing a lot of FPL managers over. I think Jack might have been one of them.
Yeah, 100%. I just did a wild card for this game week, kept him in, but now I've got somehow get him out.
Yeah. I'd use my wild card the week before because I didn't know.
I am happy though because sorry, Joel, to cut you off, but I'm happy because he does actually miss West Ham's next Premier League game against Man United.
Not bad then. Yeah. So I used my wild card like 2 weeks ago because I didn't know if the Ronaldo thing was going to happen, and now it's literally just impossible for me to film in my team. It's just not going to happen. So that's just the way it is. So Newcastle and Burnley join Norwich in the relegation zone now. And that's pretty much all from the Prem. Champions League tonight, one of the big games, I believe, is Bayern Barca today.
Yeah.
Before we go into that, who are your favorites? Is still PSG going into this sort of campaign?
It's got to be. I mean, I know maybe, I don't know Tyrese's face, maybe he's got someone else, Bayern are a great team, City are a great team, Chelsea are a great team, I think United are a great team, Liverpool are a great team, but looking at that team, on paper, they are absolute favourites.
Yeah.
So for me, it's got to be PSG.
Ty?
I don't know, man. Champions League Ronaldo. I don't know. I thought United might have a chance, man. Yeah, that's
we have a chance, but would you call us favourites?
I think you're.
When you've got,
in terms of
I know you've got
favorites,
Messi and Ronaldo, but when you've got Neymar and Mbappe compared to, I'm not saying Ronaldo, I'm not saying Rashford and Sancho are rubbish, but compared to the level they're at, you've got to look at that. You've got to look at, we've got Pogba and Bruno, but then you look at, they got Ramos now, Kimpembe, Marquinhos, but they brought an actual left back that we said that's where they're missing. Wijnaldum, Hakimi now, Navas and Donnarumma in goal. They've got to be favourites in my opinion.
It's like a flipping ultimate team.
We're forgetting Ander Herrera as well,
Score 2 on the
weekend.
Like
that. Here we go.
Fucking hell. PSG. I'd say PSG Bayern, and then maybe I don't think we can sleep on Liverpool either. I think they've got a. There's a lot of teams that can win it, which is obviously different because before it used to be everyone used to say, "Oh, Real Madrid or Barca or Bayern." There's always them three, but now there's about 6 teams that can probably win it now. So it's exciting.
Yeah. I think of PSG is they do seem to be getting stronger every week. The first couple of league games defensively is a bit not shaky, but a bit suspect. Keylor Navas, he's making a couple of saves, but a couple of mistakes as well. But Saturday's game, Donnarumma came in first clean sheet of the season for them, I believe, and he just looks, maybe second, but he just looks so solid in there. So I don't know how Poch's going to pick between the two. I don't think
Ramos has even played for them either, though.
Nah, I don't think he hasn't even in the squad yet.
I don't know what's wrong.
Yeah,
I think he's injured.
I don't know.
He was. He's injured. He got he picked up an injury in the summer, so he's coming back soon, I think.
But Marquinhos and Kimpembe is not bad. I think Nuno Mendes only played a couple minutes on the weekend, so I'm not sure if we'll start against Bruges tomorrow. But yeah, I agree. They are probably fits for me as well because their front three is probably arguably the best in the world, and then they've shored up that midfield as well with players like Wijnaldum. So it's definitely going to be a good, not just Premier League but Champions League campaign to watch this season. But elsewhere, I can't believe it. This Conference League games actually started now at 3:30 on a Tuesday. So I don't know what this tournament is. I don't know what day it's really played on, but they have started their games. But yeah, I feel like that is all the news from this week. But the last thing I want to discuss is, so obviously Mo Salah did reach 100 Premier League goals this weekend. One of the quickest to do it. I think it's only a handful of players sort of quicker than him, and most of them are strikers as well. Where does he rank in terms of Premier League all time for you guys? Because he is one of the best. I feel like he's one of the best goal scorers we've seen. He gets about 20 to 25 goals guaranteed in Prem alone for each season.
Well, just like you said, look at his goal record. He's now got the record for most goals in the Premier League single season. And he's been this is his 6th year, I think. I think he never got the recognition because there was always a debate between, who would you rather, Mane or Salah? People had their favourite, but Salah's kept this consistency. Mane hasn't, and I think Salah hasn't got the recognition because he's still playing. I think once he leaves this league, people look back and go, you know what, 100 goals in 100, I think 160 appearances, something like that. It's just an incredible goal scoring record, and he's relentless. The whole 5 seasons, he doesn't stop. He's still scoring this season. He just doesn't stop. It's relentless.
Yeah, Ty, as a former Chelsea player, does it hurt every time he scores?
Yeah, it does. In his first season, I tried to hate him as much as possible, but then I just couldn't. Because Salah, he's world class, man. Like, the guy just guarantees goals. Like, he's inevitable. Like, it's annoying, man. Because for Chelsea, obviously, he was taking shots and they were going out for throw-ins. So, it is annoying. Obviously, Mourinho let go of another young player, but then, to be fair, he wasn't great for us. Obviously, he came to Liverpool when they paid. What they paid for him, 30 million or something like that. At first, I was laughing because I thought he was just gonna be shit, but apparently not. So he is. For me, he's gonna, when he, obviously, like Jack said, when he leaves, top 5 maybe.
Maybe that's pushing it a little bit.
It depends. It depends what you judge. It depends what you judge it on now.
100% top 10, no doubt about it. He's one of the best, especially one of the best goal scorers in the Prem.
Yeah, I think in terms of wingers, the only 2 could really sort of argue could be above him are Ronaldo and Hazard. Just sort of comparing the rest.
He's better than Hazard.
How long was Hazard at Chelsea?
7 years.
7. So this is Salah's 6, and there was a season where, where Mourinho got sacked and Hazard just nothing that season. Salah's never been like that. Yeah, every season consistent, always top goal scorer. Thereabouts, and I love Hazard the way he plays, but just Salah's consistency, it just proves that he's got to be talked about in that category.
They were different players, but Salah's better than Hazard. So I'll be honest.
That's certainly saying.
Yeah, I think you might start crying, so maybe should wrap this up soon. But yeah, before we do, obviously, we made the manager tier list the other day. We put Mourinho number 1, and I think he saw the video and it's like, cool, let me win my 1,000th game and do a typical Mourinho celebration. He just sprinted the length of pretty much the pitch into the crowd, just started hugging Tammy Abraham. If you saw it, Abraham was so confused, I think, when he saw Mourinho there, just run up and just jump on him. El Shaarawy was a great goal to win the game late on, but yeah, just the most Mourinho thing he could do in his 1,000th game, just run down and celebrate with the team, with the fans, his assistants joining him and everything. Or a manager, great, good stuff in Roma as well. So it'll be interesting to see how they're doing. I think serving Conference League as well. So if he comes back to knock out Spurs, what a storyline that would be. Yeah, I would love to see that. But yeah, that was all from us this week. Obviously, you got Champions League today, tomorrow, then Europa League Thursday. I think I'll still be watching that. What a tournament that is as well. And then back to the Prem on the weekend. So thank you guys for joining me. Have a nice.